Alcibiades was the ancient Greek equivalent of Oscar Wilde's Dorian Gray. Reputed to be a descendant of Ajax the Great, Alcibiades was a man gifted with great beauty and whose character had strange contradictions. His physical gifts garnered the attention of no less a figure than Socrates. The two men were close during his primitive years, with no flatterers capable of separating Alcibiades from his favorite teacher. The young man rose to prominence in Athens and was noted for his exceptional oratory skill, likely a product of his high position with the nobility. As he entered politics, Alcibiades began a rivalry with the Athenian general Nicias. His prompting of Sparta to reject a peace treaty with Nicias saw a re-engagement of the Peloponnesian War around 418 BC. As a general, Alcibiades pushed for Athens to strengthen her empire, and his ambitions stirred the Athenians towards Sicily. Both Alcibiades and Nicias were tasked with campaigning in Sicily, but the former had to return to Athens to face charges of desecration. After being indicted, Alcibiades fled to Sparta, where Plutarch writes that he turned on Athens, persuading the Spartans to declare war on the Athenians in both Sicily and their homeland. The Spartans eventually came to distrust Alcibiades, and he defected again to Persia, befriending the satrap Tissaphernes. But his alliance with Persia against Greece was merely a ruse to usher in a victorious Athenian empire. Tissaphernes eventually betrayed him, and Alcibiades escaped to the Hellespont to begin leading the Athenians against their eastern enemies. He returned to Athens victorious, but his fortune was short-lived. The new generals would not listen to him prior to the naval battle of Aegospotami, which saw the Athenians utterly defeated. The Spartan leader Lysander would strip Athens of her liberties and called on Persia to execute Alcibiades. In 404 BC, the great general was cut down by the arrows of unknown assassins while residing in Phrygia. With the death of Alcibiades, Athenian dreams of empire died as well, with Lysander bringing Athens into a new era of Spartan hegemony. And now we shall turn our attention to his Roman counterpart. The character of Gaius Marcius is considered legendary by modern historians. Though he was left fatherless early in his life, he was unmatched in wisdom and skill for warfare. His influence and reputation rose in the years after the Roman Republic was established. Around 493 BC, Rome was at war against the Volsci tribe in Italy. In one action, Marcius led the Romans to capture the major Volscian city of Corioli. His later refusal to accept any spoils of war led the Romans to award him the name of Coriolanus as a mark of honor. Plutarch writes that around 2 years later, a conflict arose between the plebeians and patricians concerning a food shortage in Rome. While trying to solve the conflict, Coriolanus was put to trial under accusations of threatening the removal of the tribunes for the purpose of making himself a despot. He was found guilty by the citizens and was sentenced to banishment from the city. Coriolanus then departed Rome, leaving behind his mother and his family. He settled in the town of Antium and befriended Tullus Aufidius, his former enemy and leader of the Volscians. Together, the two men engaged in a new war against Rome. The Volscians conquered a multitude of towns and colonies before finally reaching Rome in 488 BC. Here, Coriolanus and his army besieged the city for several months. The political leaders of Rome were in disarray in trying to save the city, as 3 peace delegations had been offered to Coriolanus to no avail. Finally, the women decided to take matters into their own hands. On one fateful day, the women of Rome marched to the Volscian camp and met Coriolanus in person. Among them were his mother, Volumnia, and his wife, Virgilia. In an impassioned plea for peace, Volumnia delivered an ultimatum to her son: family, or victory. After great conviction, Coriolanus led the Volscians away from Rome, ending the siege and saving the city. Not much is known about him after this time, but it is believed he was assassinated on the orders of Tullus for choosing to reject total victory. The death of Coriolanus spelled doom for the Volscians. In the years that followed, their allies in Italy began to turn against them. The Romans and the Volscians continued to fight with each other down to the time of Camillus, until the latter finally agreed to integrate into the Republic.